Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's live onboarding and device setup. I'm Tim from Ledger, and today we're going to be setting up a nano device. It looks like there aren't many questions coming in, but if you did come here to get some of your questions answered, like maybe if you came to one of our previous streams and we couldn't get to your question, or if you just showed up to get your questions answered, we will have a mod. Looks like we have Steve in the chat. He's an excellent moderator, and he will be available to answer any questions you guys have. But if you did come here to watch the setup of a nano device, then you've come to the right place, and I will go ahead and get started with that right now. All right, cool. Let me go ahead and switch this. Okay. All right. Sorry, things were a little chaotic this morning with the setup, but I think we have everything all ready to go. All right, cool. So as usual, if you've been to any of my previous onboardings and device setups, we've gotten into the habit of reusing devices because one cool thing about these devices that we sell, these nanos, is that they can always be reset and reset back up as if they were brand new. So since they really only store the recovery phrase, wiping it clean and starting over is a perfectly viable thing. So it's actually kind of a cool thing that I can incorporate into these onboardings to kind of show you guys like one more little thing, about the device. That being said, this device does not have the plastic cover on it. It's been removed long ago. We've set the device up many times, but I did reconstruct the package in order to look like what your package might look like or would look like if you were to be unboxing your device for the first time. And then also, one more disclaimer. While I am setting up a Nano S Plus today, if you are following along and if you have a Nano X or a Nano S, one of our other devices, the setup process will be pretty much the same. There will only be very minor differences in like things that you select in Ledger Live, but I will address that as soon as we get to it. So if you do have a different device, no worries. You can still follow along and get your own device set up along with me while we're going through this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, switch the screen. All right, cool. Looks like everything is looking good. All right, so we have this box. Better angle, guys. That's a little bit better. There we go. Fine tuning here. There we go. It's a little bit better. All right, sweet. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and unbox it. So simulate removing plastic cover. And then I'm going to take off the outer shell. Set that aside. We'll go ahead and open up this box. And then, so for the Nano S Plus, this is how it looks when you first open it up. You've got your device right here. You've got your secret recovery sheets. And then we're going to be needing those. So we're going to pull those out. We're also obviously going to be needing the device, so we'll pull that out, put it aside. And then you take out this little mold right here. Put that to the side. You got this little pink envelope. And this little pink envelope has, it's got some stickers in it. It's got some regulatory information. It'll help you get started, like like if you didn't have some a streamer to follow along with the setup, then you can get started by reading the information in this packet, which will get you started, which will get you pointed in the right direction to get Ledger Live installed. As you can see, I already do have Ledger Live installed. However, if you are following along and you would like to, and you don't yet have Ledger Live installed, you can go to Ledger Live. Go to our official download page, and I'll just go ahead and drop it in the chat for you guys in case you don't have it. So this is our official download page right here. So yeah, you can safely download Ledger Live from this page. Yeah, and we can get started. So I will open that back up, and then we'll resume here. So we have one last thing in the package. So inside this black box right here, there is a cable, a USB cable, and there is also a little keychain that you can use that you can kind of slip in between the little hole right here and kind of wear it on a keychain if you want. I don't personally use it, but I think it's a pretty cool feature, just a little something extra that we add. So I'm going to put that aside, and then I'm going to move all this out of the way somewhere, although I have no space. There we go. For it. All right, cool. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and just start by powering on the device. Move this recovery sheet to the side for a second. Okay. So when you first plug in your device, it should open up to this screen right here that says, welcome to Nano S Plus. If you have the Nano X, it would say, welcome to Nano X. And then also the Nano S, it would just say, welcome to Nano S. But otherwise, it's the same. And then press the right button to continue. So to use the device, you've got two buttons on it. For the Nano S Plus and the Nano S, both of the buttons are on the top rail right here. And then you've got your charging port here to the left. You've got your left button and you got your right button. So clicking to the right will move it to the right, and clicking to the left will move back to the left. And then pressing both buttons simultaneously will make the selection. So this is actually surprising. This is actually one of the things that like kind of trip some users up at first, is like, I'm pressing both buttons and nothing's happening. So it's really important to remember when you're making a selection to quickly tap both buttons and not hold them down for an extended period of time. So we want to just tap the buttons to make the selection, move on to the next screen. And then right here, ledger.com/start. It'll tell you where to download Ledger Live, although I did drop the link for you guys in the chat, so you don't have to go try to find that on your own. However, if you were on your own, you can just type into your browser ledger.com/start, and it will take you directly to our official download page. Okay. So then now you see you have two options when setting up a Nano device. You've got set up as a new device, or you have restore from recovery phrase. If you are setting up your device for the very first time, then you're going to want to do set up as new device. And what this is going to do is this is going to take you through a flow that randomly generates a 24-word recovery phrase for you. And that recovery phrase will need to be written down on one of the recovery sheets. And we're going to get more into that here in a minute. However, if you are an existing user of our products, or if you have another recovery phrase from another hardware wallet or another wallet that you're using, and you would like to import it into your Nano, or if, for instance, your Nano, you had a Nano and it broke, or it got lost or stolen, or like destroyed in any way, and it no longer works, well, then you can just get a new device, select this option, restore from recovery phrase, and then you can import your recovery phrase into your new device, and it will make it identical to your old device. You'll be able to access all your same accounts that are already in Ledger Live. You won't have to re-add your accounts. You won't have to move any funds, nothing like that. You can just import the phrase and you're back in business. But we're not going to do that today. Today we are going to set it up as a new device. So I'll go ahead and make that selection. The one-handed method seems to be pretty good. If you're wondering why I always set up a Nano S Plus, it's because it's just like easier for me to like do it on camera like this with all these different camera angles. Whereas like the Nano X, I have to have both hands, and it's kind of clunky. But yeah, so we're going to set up as a new device. So we're going to choose the pin, 4 to 8 digits in length. So you can press both buttons to proceed from there, and then you get to this pin screen right here where you can where you can set up your pin. So it's important to note with the pin is only used to unlock your device. The pin is not actually really tied to your crypto accounts that we're going to be creating here shortly. The pin only gives access to the device, and so it keeps other people from accessing your device. And so if you ever were to forget your pin, it's definitely not the end of the world. Although it can be a pretty scary thing to, because forgetting your pin, could be bad or whatever. And there's not a very clear way to reset the pin. In fact, there is no real way to manually reset the pin without resetting the device. But that's okay, because as long as you have your recovery phrase that you set up when you set up the device, then you can just wipe the device and then reset it up, choose a new pin, and then import your recovery phrase, and then you're back in business as well. And that's effectively how you would reset your pin. So I'm going to make this pin nice and easy. I'm going to make it 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, cool. So we have 1, 1, 1, 1. Very easy pin, very easy to guess. I don't recommend using that pin for your own device. I definitely recommend making it up to the full 8 digits in length. That way, it really prevents anyone who were to steal your device. It would make it pretty impossible for someone to guess your pin if it's truly a good random pin. And the reason for that is because, so now we have to confirm our PIN right here. But the reason for that is because there's a security feature of these nanos that is one of the coolest security features, other than the fact that it secures your crypto. That aside, but just like as like a side security thing, where if you enter the wrong PIN incorrectly 3 times, it's going to factory reset the device. So if you have a nice long, a good secure PIN, then the idea of someone stealing your nano and gaining access to your funds is pretty much non-existent. There's really no way, unless someone gets incredibly lucky, that they're going to guess a PIN within 3 attempts, and there's no way to stop that from happening. So just something I like to go over. All right, so now we're going to generate our recovery phrase. This is the most important part of this entire process. And the device does a pretty good job at explaining this or whatever. So now your device will generate your 24 words. They are your recovery phrase. It's your only backup to restore your accounts if needed. It's really easy to kind of just flip through these messages when you're setting up a new device. Like, for instance, you're setting up a new phone or something, and it's like, got it. But in this case, it's really important to pay attention to this, because if something were to happen to your device, like let's say you did forget your PIN, or it broke and you accidentally drop it in your cup of water or something, and it just destroys it because they're not waterproof. And you don't have your 24-word recovery phrase, then you will be permanently locked out from your accounts. There's no recourse for that with this. And so it's really, really important to make sure that you write down your recovery phrase and you keep it in a nice, safe place in case you need it to re-back up your accounts. But hopefully you never actually need to use that recovery phrase. That's kind of the whole idea, is that you can generate this recovery phrase, bury it in a bunker in the ground, or throw it in your safe, or throw it wherever you think is the safest place for you to keep it, and never have to actually access it. And then you can just sign your transactions with your Ledger device safely without having to worry about having to like manage those private keys. So we're going to go ahead and continue. We're going to write down these recovery sheets here in a second, and we're going to press both buttons to continue. Quick tap. All right. So write down in the correct order, very important. We're going to press both buttons to continue again. And then it's immediately going to just start generating the words. So the first word that we're generating here is science. So now I'm going to kind of shift without revealing the ground beyond the edge of the desk. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, cool. So now when you enter in your secret recovery sheet packet, a new one will come with 3 recovery sheets. But we've depleted 2 of these, and we only have 1 left. So I'm going to go ahead and put this packet to the side. And then here is the recovery sheet for the Nano S Plus. And I also really like the recovery sheets for the Nano S Plus. I think it's cool that they're full. It's a little bit thicker of a paper. It doesn't have that waxy gloss on it that some of the other recovery sheets have. And it's a good user experience. So you'll see here that these numbers are top to bottom and then left to right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. So when I write down my words, I'm going to make sure to write down the words in the correct order that they are. I don't want to write down the words like 1, 2, 3, 4, because then, years from now, you can get into a situation where, you have to back up your accounts. And if you don't remember that you did not write them down in the correct order, it could be a huge headache to determine what has happened and correct that. There's very little that we can do from support to help with these things other than to provide, knowledge and suggestions. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. All right. This part of the process is a little boring, but it's also, since it is so important, it's best to just go through it, take your time, write down neat and legibly. That way you can make sure you can read your own writing. Because if you can't read your own writing, again, years from now, and you're like, what word is that? And you try to enter it and it doesn't accept that word, then that could be also a pretty tricky situation to work out, if not impossible. So let's go ahead and get started with it. All right, first word is science. Second word is act. Practice. And I'm going to talk a little bit more after this process about where these words come from and what they mean, because this is probably very confusing for a lot of people. Well, what are these words and how do they back up my crypto? So I'm going to go over all that here in a minute. But I'm just going to go ahead and take my time here, and I'm going to go through this. And it may be a little bit boring, but if you have questions at this point, it's a good time to drop them in the chat to have Steve answer those for you. That E look a little bit better right there. That's pretty good. All right, we got all 24 words written down, pretty legible. I can read all those words. They look good. So now, if we scroll to the right again, it says that you can, if you want, you can press the left button to verify 24 words. So you can go all the way back and run through all the words that were generated. Make sure. However, even if you do that, you are still going to have to confirm your recovery phrase on this next screen, word by word. And this is just to ensure that the user wrote down the correct phrase. Because again, a mistake made in this process could lead to bad consequences if this isn't taken as serious as it should be. So make sure that you definitely confirm each word, that you have it written down, correctly. So how that works is it will give you random words, and then you choose the right one. So this one just happened to do science first. It'll give you like 4 options. Now just make it a little bit easier. Like, hey, out of these 4 words, which one is the correct word for this spot? So the first word, science. Second word is act. So we'll scroll. There's act, and then practice, fiscal, oops, wrong word, retry. See that? I messed that one up. There we go. All right, so it'll tell you if you put the wrong word in, and it'll let you try again. So yeah, so your recovery phrase is set. Keep it in a secure place. I mentioned before some, like options for that. As I mentioned before, everybody is in a different situation. So maybe not everybody has access to, like a really big like secure safe, like that they can store their recovery phrase in, or maybe they don't have access to like an underground bunker. However it is, your whatever makes the most sense for you in your situation, and can mitigate the possibility as much as possible of anyone gaining access to this phrase, do that. However, one thing to keep in mind is you do not want to pull out your phone. You do not want to take a picture of this phrase. You don't want to store it digitally. I know that's kind of counterintuitive because our entire lives are digital these days. All of our information is stored digitally, on databases. But it's important to note that all electronic devices that connect to a network, that connect to the internet, are potentially vulnerable to attacks from other people that are operating in that space. And while it is very rare that a person's phone gets hacked, or a person's iCloud gets hacked, or a person's Google Drive gets hacked, I can tell you with 100% certainty that we have seen these cases, and it's not impossible. And so if you so just keep that in mind. You don't want to store this anywhere where anyone else can gain access to it. And so you may have heard the term air gap. So this is what air gap means. Air gap means that it was written down completely offline and is kept offline. It is never put online in any way, shape, or form. And so as long as you follow those principles and you don't share the information and put it in a place that could potentially be accessed, then it truly is impossible for anyone to gain access to your assets. The only other way that they'd be able to do that is if they stole your nano and they also knew your PIN. So those are the two attack vectors. Someone has your nano and your PIN, then they can log into your nano, and then they can send transactions from your nano, and they can access all of your same accounts with that nano. Or somebody steals your recovery phrase, in which case they no longer need your nano, because your nano's only job is to secure your recovery phrase. That's what your nano does. It keeps your recovery phrase safe. It lets you safely cryptographically sign transactions while connected, without any fear of that information being shared outside of the device. It's just not possible because the architecture, the way these things are designed. So definitely keep these in a nice, safe place. So I'm going to go ahead and put this to the side for a second. I want to show you guys one other cool thing today that I don't think I've gone over in these onboardings, but we'll get to that here in a minute. All right, cool. So if lost, stolen, or forgotten, your recovery phrase is what it's referring to, all your assets will be lost. So you definitely do not want to lose your recovery phrase. Assume that your recovery phrase is your crypto. That's the best way to think about it. Your recovery phrase is your crypto. All right. Never share it with anyone, and Ledger will never ask you for it. That's another thing. If anyone ever does ask you for your recovery phrase, like let's say you're communicating with someone who's claiming to be from a support network or a support channel, like on social media or something, and they ask you for your recovery phrase, they are a scammer. 100% they are a scammer, and they want to steal your crypto. So never give that information out. And it takes multiple forms. Like maybe like you're talking to like a support agent, and they're like, and they may even say something like, oh no, don't share your words with me, you should keep those private. However, go to this link and back up your accounts securely through our secure channels, and then you go to that link, and that link asks you for your recovery phrase. That's the same thing. That's just them trying to trick you into giving them your recovery phrase. Never fall for that. If at any point you come to a situation where a person or an application or otherwise anything else, Google form, anything, is asking you to input that information, it is an attempt to scam you out of your assets. And it will succeed if you give them that information. 100% it will succeed. So never give that information out. And on that same vein, we will never DM anybody. Like a true Ledger support agent, we won't reach out to anybody via direct message or a private message on any social media, LinkedIn, nothing. We will never go and seek individuals to help. We are here to provide support for individuals who come to us, and we have our secure channels that we use. Our support center. You can reach out to us on Twitter, but it's all going to be public. We will never direct message you. We'll never do anything in private. Everything will be open and public. The only time you can have a private conversation with us is if you come into our support channel through our official website. And at that point, of course, the agent would never ask you for your recovery phrase. We're only here to help. All right. I think I beat that over the head enough, at least for today's stream. But yeah, we'll go ahead and continue. Let's press both buttons to continue. It's processing, and then your device is ready. All good. So now we can go to the dashboard, and you can see that we have this this screen right here, the dashboard for install app or control center. And these are just little widgets that tell you how to do these actions. So if I were to go to install app, for instance, it'll say use the manager in Ledger Live to install apps. Okay, great. Back to dashboard. Control center. Oh, cool. That sounds like the settings menu. If I go to that, it'll tell you how to access the settings menu. So these are, think of these like little two default widgets here as just being tutorials to help you get started. So then you can go back to dashboard. So to get to the control center, the settings menu, this is where you want to hold the both buttons down at the same time. So you hold them down for 3 seconds, and then it goes to the settings menu, the control center. And then you can exit that by closing the control center. So that'd be the only time you'd ever want to hold the buttons down for an extended period of time is when you're trying to access the settings menu to mess with your settings on your device. All right, cool. So now we have our device fully set up, and you'll see that I haven't done anything in Ledger Live yet. Ledger Live is still sitting here, not set up, ready to get started, fresh install. And the reason I do that is because I like to show that any nano can be set up completely offline. While this nano is connected to a power source that is connected to my computer right now, that doesn't have to be true. I can connect this nano directly to a wall outlet or a portable battery or anything to supply power to it. And you can set up the device that way, completely offline. You can generate your recovery phrase without this thing ever touching anything that's connected to the internet, totally air gapped, if you would like. And I recommend doing that just to see that, just to go through the process. So yeah, so let's go ahead and check out Ledger Live and see what we got going on here. So we'll go get started. So right here, it'll ask you to select the device you have. We have a Nano S Plus. If you have the S or the X, go ahead and select those. But I'll be selecting this one. And then the screen will look pretty much exactly the same. So if you are using, and it is cool, it is good to use Ledger Live to help guide you through this. Our application is it's come a long way, and it will, if you select this one, first time using your Nano, set it up, then it will guide you through everything that I just went through as well, and kind of step by step and provide some more information. But since I already dumped all that information on you guys, we can go ahead and skip that to expedite this process. And we're going to choose already have a recovery phrase. And we're going to proceed right to connecting our Nano S Plus. All right, like that. So right now we're going to perform the genuine check. What the genuine check is it will scan your Nano device and the firmware that's in your device, and it'll make sure it's genuine. It'll make sure that it hasn't been tampered with. It'll make sure that it is exactly what Ledger Live expects to see from your device. And as long as everything checks out, then you'll pass it. And it's usually pretty quick. Let's see. Oh, allow a secure connection with Ledger Manager. So anytime you do a genuine check, you have to authorize it on your device. So we're going to go ahead and allow that. We're going to quickly tap both buttons, let it do the genuine check, and it's all good. Ledger Nano S Plus is genuine and ready to use with Ledger Live. So we know that this is a genuine device. And this is a really cool feature because this will allow you, let's say you have a friend that has an extra Nano that they used, and they're like, oh, you don't have to buy one. You can just have one of my extra ones because I got a bunch of them. And you may be like, oh, I don't want to use a Nano that someone else has previously used. Like, couldn't that potentially compromise me? Well, the answer is no. As long as that person wipes that Nano, factory resets it, it will be just like setting up a new Nano. It'll go back to factory settings, and you'll be able to set it up just as securely on your own without that other person, without any possibility of this other person being able to access any of your private information. So it'll truly become your device. All right, so we're going to go ahead and continue. All right, cool. So yeah, so it drops us right here into the main dashboard for Ledger Live, the main interface. You'll see that account, send, receive, buy, sell, swap. These are all grayed out because we don't have accounts yet, so we can't do any of these functions. So let's go ahead and add an account. We can click add an account here. And then actually, you know, the first thing that you should do when you set up your Nano is to go directly to the My Ledger tab. And the reason for that is because oftentimes when you set up a new Nano, if it was manufactured before like a more recent firmware update or was released for it, then it's very common to receive a Nano that has firmware updates available for it. This Nano, of course, is fully updated on the firmware because we use it all the time for these onboardings. But if you did have a firmware update, there'd be a big orange banner at the top right here that says firmware update available, and then you can go ahead and get that installed. But this is also where you can browse the app catalog and install these Nano apps onto your device. And so what these Nano apps do is these Nano apps give your Ledger the tools that it needs to interact with all these specific blockchains. So it's important to note that these Nano apps are not your accounts. So you will install these Nano apps on your device, and they will be used to help your device create your accounts on the blockchain. But once your accounts are created and accessed, you can uninstall these Nano apps and reinstall them. Like, for instance, if you run out of space and you have like 50 or 100 different, blockchains that you interact with, then you can just keep adding and removing these Nano apps as needed whenever you want to interact with those blockchains. So I'm going to go ahead and install the Ethereum app real quick, just to show you how to add an account. You see it's installing here, and there's also a loading bar right here on the Nano to let you know it's loading. And that's it. So you see now we have a third widget. We have the Ethereum application installed right there. And so anytime you install one of these Nano apps, it'll show up on the screen of your Nano, and you'll have all your different Nano apps. So now that we have that, now let's go back. You can click Add Account here, or you can go back up to the Portfolio tab, and you can add an account from here, whatever you please. So we want to add an Ethereum account because we just installed the Ethereum app. We'll continue. Let's go ahead and open the Ethereum app. So right now it's synchronizing with the Ethereum blockchain using the Ethereum app that is installed on the device, and it is generating your account. So we'll go ahead and just add this. Okay, and as you can see, it's an empty account. It's a brand new recovery phrase. So there's of course no funds in this account, but now we have an ETH account. So if we wanted to send some Ethereum to our new ETH account that we have, we can click on it. We can open it up. We can click on this receive button and then hit the continue. Make sure Ethereum is selected. And then it'll generate your receive address. So this is actually your public wallet address. So this is a totally unique public wallet address. No other Ethereum account has this. This address is safe to share. That's why it gives you the option to copy it from here. And then if you're withdrawing from an exchange, you can then go to your exchange account and go through the withdrawal features for that exchange. And they all look a little bit different, but it's all kind of the same process because they all have different user interfaces. And we actually do have help center articles that show the process for all the major exchanges, like with videos and everything to like show you exactly like Crypto.com, Coinbase, Binance. We have all these different articles that will help you depending on which exchange that you use. So then right now you get the option to verify your address on the screen of your Nano. You see right here it's asking to verify it. And so the reason this is a powerful tool is because it's very uncommon, but there are instances where a person could have a virus on their computer, and it could be affecting like maybe the clipboard, to where when you copy something and it goes to your clipboard, maybe when you paste it, this virus is set up to paste different information. So it's really cool to have this feature on the Nano because you know that what appears on the screen of this nano is law. It's not possible for any virus or any malware or any person, bad actor in any way, shape, or form to mess with the information that is just being displayed on the screen of your nano. While your computer may be vulnerable, again, not likely. It's very uncommon that these types of things happen. In fact, I don't know if we've ever actually had a confirmed case of this. It's mostly just theoretical because we know that these types of viruses do exist out in the wild. But one thing you can do is you can copy your address from here. You can leave this screen up. You can go to your Exchange account, Coinbase, whatever, and you can keep this up on your screen of your nano. And then you can Command V or Control V if you're on Windows, and you can paste in your wallet address into the recipient field on your Exchange. Then you can go in and be like, okay, let's verify this. Let's make sure. All right, is what's showing up on the screen of my nano the same information that I just pasted into this Exchange? And you can verify it, and if it all checks out, then you'll know that you're good to go. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and just delete that. And then we'll go ahead and approve that because that is the correct wallet address. And I wanted to show you guys one more thing that I mentioned earlier. I want to show you guys something cool. One of these nano apps that we have. And it's because recovery phrases are so important. And once your recovery phrase is saved in the memory of your nano, it's not possible for you to extract that information. Not even you, if you have your PIN in your nano, there's nowhere in the settings on this thing that will allow you to generate your recovery phrase to see it. And that's for security reasons. That's so that if someone, it's just to prevent the possibility of that information leaving your device. It just, once it goes in the secure element, that's where it stays, and it's impervious to any kind of outside attack to try to get it. But like that being said, we understand that this could cause some anxiety for some users, not knowing, and so we have this really cool app. So if you go back to the My Ledger tab, and you go to the recovery check, you search for recovery check. It's right here. It's this green one with the little underscore and the check mark. And then you install that. This will actually let you check that the recovery phrase stored in your device is the same one you have written down. It won't expose that information, but it'll let you input the recovery phrase word by word, and then it will tell you yes or no. It will say, this is the recovery phrase stored in this device, or this is not the recovery phrase stored in this device. And so so while you can't, at that point, you couldn't get your recovery phrase from the device, you would know that at some point you made a mistake writing down the words, and it's not a match to what's in the device. So at that point, it would give you the opportunity to remove all your crypto from all your accounts, reset your device, set up a new recovery phrase, verify it, make sure you wrote it down correctly the second time, and then create brand new accounts based on that new recovery phrase, and then you can move all your crypto back into it. I myself I use this tool, like not all the time, but like every once in a while, just to make sure, just for peace of mind. It's like, okay, like I know that my recovery phrase isn't going to be randomly changed in the device, and I know that I wrote it down correctly. I'm a competent individual. I know that I didn't mess this up. However, sometimes, I'll just think like, well, what if I did? And what if my nano stopped working and I had to recover it with my recovery phrase? How can I be positive that will regain access to my accounts? And this is a tool that'll let you do that. So let's just go through it real quick. Let's just see what it looks like. All right. So if you go to your nano, you see you have the recovery check app right there. So let's open that up. And then it says, check your recovery phrase. Go to the right. Oh, no, we won't. We will select that. So check your recovery phrase. Let's do that. All right. So select the number of words written on your recovery sheet. What's cool is your nano is actually compatible with other lengths of recovery phrases. If you have, for instance, if you have like a Metamask account or something, or like if you have a 12-word, it's not really recommended to import a seed phrase from a hot wallet into your ledger because it was already exposed to the internet, so it doesn't really add, it really won't give you any additional security. However, if you have another hardware wallet that did generate a 12-word recovery phrase and you know that it's still secure and you want to use that recovery phrase, you could actually import that into your Nano and use it. So we'll select it. So we have 24 words. Okay, and then it'll let you enter your words. So let's see. We got S, and here's something real cool that I'm going to talk through while we go. So notice I selected S, and then it only gives me a few options. And it doesn't give me all the letters, and that's because every single recovery phrase is pulled. See, it already knows that it's science. Every single recovery phrase is derived from the same list of 2,048 total possible words. So there's only so many words that can be used to make a recovery phrase. It's not just random words of any word that in existence. It is a set list of words, part of this list, the BIP 39 word list. And so each one of these words is uniquely identifiable by only the first 4 characters. So technically, you could write down your recovery phrase and you could only write the first 4 letters of each word, even though science is 7 letters long. I can write down SCIE, and there will be no other possible word on this list that it could be other than science. And so that's how your Nano knows and is able to narrow down as you enter letters. And by the time you enter the 4th letter, usually by 3 or 4, usually by 3, but certainly by 4, your Nano is going to know the word that you're trying to enter. So you can select that. A, C, T, act. Practice. This is a good one because there's another long word. Let's find T. T. R. And it already knows. There's only a few left that it can possibly be. A, and then it knows it's practice. Then you can go through that. This is I didn't really take this into account. This is kind of a long process to do this. So I'm probably just gonna not do every single word. But you get the idea. And so now you can verify that your words, and it's also helpful to do this directly after you set up your Nano, just to make sure. It gives you a way to just verify, like, okay, cool. Like I set this up, I verified the words, I went through the verification process during setup, and I know it's correct, but maybe I want just a little bit more peace of mind. Maybe I want to check again, and so this will let you check again. So right now I'm going to go ahead and just break this connection right here to reset it, plug it back in, enter my super unsecure pin, 111. Actually, you know what? I want to show you guys something real quick too. Another cool security feature. So you'll see the little underscore. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. That's pretty. There we go. So I select 1, and then the little underscore stayed on 1 this time. And I select it again, it randomly jumped to the back arrow. I select 1 again, it randomly jumps to 7, and then I have to select 1 again. And so the reason for that is it will randomly jump anywhere every time you enter a number for your PIN. This way, if you're out in public or if there's someone else in the room with you that's observing you while you're entering your PIN, it'd be impossible for them to count the button presses to determine what your PIN is. Like if it always started at 0, then someone will be able to see, I click right and I hit enter. I click right, I hit enter, and they'll be like, oh, it's 1111. Like I know this guy's PIN. So that'll prevent that from happening, and just adds just one more layer of security that can help you keep you safe. All right, cool. So I will go ahead and drop this recovery sheet over here to the right. And yeah, so that is a full device setup, onboarding. I realize there's probably still a lot of questions that people have. We still have 15 minutes left. And I see Steve, as usual, is just absolutely slaying the mod work, answering all your guys' questions. But I can go ahead and start addressing some of your questions directly now, since we have a little bit of time left. Let's see. Probably time with yeah. Like we're definitely trying to drive more and more engagement to our live streams. It's really hard to find, in like good information like this. Not saying there aren't other great streamers out there. There's a ton of fantastic YouTube channels out there with people that really know what they're doing. But compared to the total number of YouTube accounts that maybe people don't quite understand the tech quite as much, it can be difficult to sift through and find good information. So yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. But and hopefully we drive up more engagement to these streams, and we can help more people. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like honestly, Steve has really just been slaying it with the questions. So let's go ahead and let's talk about some other stuff. Let me show you some other stuff in Ledger Live. So I added an Ethereum account right here. Oh, here's something cool. You see right here, this little, usually there'll be a little green check mark right here to let you know it's synchronized. It'll look like this up here. And so most of the time you can go up here and just click this and it'll resync. And once you got that check mark, you'll know it's resynced. And so the reason that there's this whole synchronization thing is that if I were to send Ethereum to this Ethereum account in Ledger Live, it would not, it's not actually, you're not actually sending it to Ledger Live. Ledger Live is not a custodial service. Ledger Live doesn't hold crypto. In fact, your Ledger device doesn't hold crypto. Your crypto only ever exists on the blockchain. This is true self-custody for direct self-custody of assets on a network. And so what Ledger Live does is Ledger Live will have the public wallet address. You saw me generate it here for this account. And so it can then use that information to reach out to the block explorer and see what all is inside this account, because it's all public knowledge that exists for these blockchains. That's kind of the whole point. It's publicly auditable. So if anyone else had your receive address, your public wallet address, they could also go in and look at your assets. It's just kind of the nature of this new world that we're living in. This yeah. So let me go ahead and show you kind of more in detail what I mean by that. I'm going to unplug this nano. I'm going to set it aside, and then let me open up my personal nano case for my work nanos. Pull out one for you. I got this cool Stadium Goods Nano S Plus right here that I always show in my streams. It's currently my favorite one, but honestly, it's just cosmetic. This swivel is different than this swivel, but these are the exact same devices, and they work in the exact same way. But why not have something that looks cool? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. And since this one does have funds attached to it, I'm gonna go ahead and put in my pin off camera real quick. I challenge you to try to time my button presses. Just kidding. All right. So I put that, so we're all unlocked. So let's create another Ethereum account. So now this nano right here has a completely different recovery phrase than this one, obviously, because you just saw me set this nano up, and so it has its own recovery phrase that no one else has ever used. Similar exact same situation with this one. So now let's create another Ethereum account right here using this nano that does have funds attached to it. Let's open the Ethereum app. It's going to synchronize. Okay, so now you see that we have all these. We have these two. I actually have two Ethereum accounts tied to this nano, and they both have some ETH in it. So we can just go ahead and add both of those in, and then I'm actually going to give it a unique name. That way, I know the difference. So I'm going to go ETH-SG for Stadium Goods, which is just the branding right here. It's a Stadium Goods Nano, just so I know which one it belongs to. And then the second one, I'll do ETH-Stadium Goods-2. That's my second one. Add those in. Then I know this is my second ETH account. This is my first ETH account. And so you see, I was able to just add those accounts right back into Ledger Live. I could remove this account, add it right back in. I could factory reset this device, wipe Ledger Live, and then re-import my recovery phrase back into this device, re-add my ETH account, and it'll still be there. Because your crypto, again, is only ever on the blockchain, and your 24 words are the key to your crypto. So as long as the correct 24 words are in your nano, you'll always be able to do this. And furthermore, it's not even limited to just Ledger Live. Let's check out what I have going on here with Metamask. Put in my password real quick. So Metamask is one of those ledgers, one of those wallets that are fully compatible. So you see here, check this out. this is the exact same account that I have in Ledger Live. I've already added it to MetaMask. And so you can go through that flow by going here and clicking on this hardware wallet button. And then it'll open up this new page, and then it'll let you select Ledger. It'll let you continue. And then we can connect our Ledger. And this is actually doing the exact same thing that Ledger Live just did. It's like, it's no different. It's pinging the blockchain. It's saying, hey, what accounts are tied to this nano, tied to these private keys? Oh, these are the ones. Okay, cool. Like exact same accounts right there. They're already added to MetaMask, so I can't add them. It's grayed out. So I'll just go ahead and cancel. And then we'll reopen the extension. So yeah, so if you see I have this, this wallet address is the exact same wallet address for this account. These are the exact same accounts. If I were to transact ETH out of this account to a different account from Ledger Live, it will immediately reflect also in MetaMask and vice versa. And so whenever you are connecting your hardware wallet to all these different dApps and stuff, keep in mind that you are just using your exact same account. You're not setting up new accounts. You're just using you're using their interface to access your accounts on the blockchain. Same as Ledger Live. And then I can kind of go a little bit further since we still have a little bit of time, and I'll show you in detail where this information comes from. So let's go ahead and copy this public wallet address right here. Let's go to etherscan.io. This is the Ethereum public block explorer. It's the most widely used one. I think there's a couple, but this is, you know, the best one. It's awesome. So then I can paste my public wallet address right here into this search field, and I can look up outside of any of these things. I can go and look directly on the Ethereum blockchain and say, hey, what is inside this wallet? And if any one of you were to copy down my wallet address, you know, if like you pause the video and copy this down, you know, go for it. Like you can also look up this information. You'll see this exact same information. And it has the balance. Again, same as in Ledger Live and same as in MetaMask. It's got all the same stuff. Yeah, and it also has all the transaction history. This is all the transactions I've made with my work nano dating back, you know, over 500 days ago. So yeah, you can see the entire record, everything that I've been up to with this work nano. And it's, you know, it's a really powerful tool to understand how kind of like this information is being displayed to you and where it comes from. Because, you know, you get into situations, I mentioned this, the synchronization. Sometimes, you know, like if you have like 50 different counts in Ledger Live has to go through and it has to sync each one into one by one with the blockchain to present that information. So sometimes, you know, like any application, Ledger Live will get hung up. It'll time out. It'll, you know, maybe one of the internal server that is used to ping the blockchain, maybe that's having slowdowns because there's increased traffic, or maybe there's some UI issue that our developers have to work out. But in those cases, it'll never actually affect your crypto. It's just, Ledger Live is having trouble displaying my accounts. And so if you have that information and you know where your crypto actually lives, then it's a non-issue, because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I know it's there. I know my stuff is there. I verified it, you know, on the blockchain. Like I can, like, let's say I made a deposit of ETH into this account and it's not showing up. And then I go to the block explorer, I look up my account and I see like, oh no, it's right there. It's in my account. Yeah, the balance is correct. Okay, so what's going on with Ledger Live? Maybe you have a little red X right here where it says synchronize, and you'll know, oh, it's just not synchronized. And then maybe you hit this button and it doesn't work. It's not synchronizing. So one thing you can do is you can go to the settings menu and you can go to help. And then there's this option here called clear cache, and you can clear your cache, confirm it. And what this will do is this will kind of not reset Ledger Live, but it'll force Ledger Live to go through and it'll force synchronization with all your accounts. And like 99% of the time, this will help to correct that issue. The only times that maybe it won't help is if there is like a system outage, you know, on our end. Again, not your crypto, not the blockchain. It's, you know, just a Ledger Live thing. Then maybe there'll be like some, you know, like it'll be a little bit funky still. Or if your Ledger Live is too far out of date. That's probably the biggest reason is when Ledger Live is out of date, because as Ledger Live receives more and more updates, it receives more and more tools to be able to interact with and ping these blockchains and communicate with these blockchains. And as everybody knows in the crypto space, these blockchains are rapidly evolving. There's new changes every day. It's honestly, even me being fully immersed in it, it is impossible for me to keep up with all the changes going across this ecosystem with all these different blockchains and all the new use cases that are popping up. And so, if you don't keep your Ledger Live fully up to date, then it may just lose its ability to communicate with that blockchain. And so, it's definitely maybe with some of your electronic devices, it's not as important to update it because they're much simpler by design, and so there's not a whole lot of changes that are being made, so you can really get away with not updating your devices for a long time. However, with crypto, not the case. You definitely want to stay as up to date as possible whenever there's a new update, because that will just ensure that things continue to run smoothly for you. That was good. Let's see. Like Steve is still slaying the chat. So I wanted to take a minute in this stream to tell you about a new idea that we had, and we are going to start next week. So we want to, we're still going to be doing onboardings. However, we kind of want to split that a little bit, and we want to go more into detail on specific blockchains that our users are using. We'll start with the trending ones, and we'll work our way from there. And talk about like specific technical considerations to think about when dealing with these blockchains. We want to talk about potential scams that may exist that are specific to different blockchains, and we want to get more targeted and direct information out to our users instead of just a lot of catch-all. Although in a lot of cases it will be like a catch-all situation. But yeah, so our plan is to start that coming up this next week, next Friday. So if you are here and if you're listening, you're the first to hear about this, and so I definitely encourage you to show up to next week's stream on Friday. It'll be at the same time, 10 a.m. We'll. I don't have much more information now because we have this next week now to kind of develop this and put something into play. However, as it approaches, we will send out tweets and we'll give more updates about what we have planned. So so I hope that I hope that some of you are excited about that. I'm definitely really excited about it. So let's see. Looks like the questions have pretty much dried up, so that's good. And it looks like we're still a couple minutes early, but I don't want to get into another topic. I tend to be pretty wordy. I don't want to go too far over. So I think this is probably a good place to call it for the day. I really appreciate you guys coming, for those of you who showed up, and I really hope that this was beneficial in some way. Of all the information, maybe hopefully I help put some more pieces together for you, and as things start to click, then, just your confidence will grow, and yeah, it's just good. Knowledge is power. So, and I'm really, really happy to be able to help our users, gain more confidence in this ecosystem. On that, I think that we will call it a day. I hope you all have a very fantastic weekend. And I hope you have lots of cool stuff planned, and you get out and enjoy the good weather, depending on where you're at. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.